Wake up, wake up. That's right. It is Friday, May the 22nd. No days off. Big Friday, 3-day weekend. We're getting you going in the right way. Join us. Come aboard.
Oh, it is Wake Up before Memorial Day weekend. Damon Bruce, Larry Kruger, great to have you. We are brought to you by Prize Picks and the eyelash that Larry was just able to pull out of his eye. We had a pre-show emergency. I'm glad it was handled quickly, Larry. How are you?
Doing well. Doing very, very well. Hope everybody's having a great day. And, let's just jump right in.
Let's do it. Let's do it because, we spent an awful lot of time over the last months talking about all the moving pieces on the 49ers, the back end of the roster, the middle of it, the starters. We've been talking about a lot of things, but not the quarterback, which, considering the quarterback is the only thing we used to talk about, I guess is marked improvement for the San Francisco 49ers. But because of, I think it was Mina Kimes, was it, Larry, who put out a list of top quarterbacks and where they rank. She had Purdy, I believe, at 15. Is that where she had him? I mean, it's not too far away from maybe where he actually belongs. So we thought we would get in today where Brock Purdy stands historically, where Brock Purdy stands among his peers right now, and among the active quarterbacks in all of football. And that's our jumping off point today. Like and subscribe, everyone. It's great to have you here again. We hope everyone's about to have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, some time off, some time with the family. But Larry, let's hop right in because there's some interesting stuff, and then we got some news to get to, and then you got to get boogieing. I would say just, quick thumbnail sketch of where Purdy is in the NFL. If he were 3 inches taller, he would be rated better. If he were drafted 3 rounds before he was actually drafted, he'd be rated better. His physical stature and his draft position, I think, are always going to be demerits in any sort of evaluation, even by people who want to do it honestly and not have any agenda behind it. I think it's not unfair to say that Purdy is right on that border of the top 10 with maybe more of a chance to crash the top 4 or 5 than anyone else who is with him somewhere around that border of the top 10, top 15 quarterbacks. What he is on the day the season starts and what he can become with a quality, efficient season, I think are two different things. So Purdy is like all quarterbacks in constant flux. He's in constant evolution, and he's young enough to, I don't think it's unnecessary or it's unreasonable to suspend, give him the benefit of the doubt and say, we're not looking at a finished product. This is still going to improve. So I like Purdy somewhere around the back end of the top 10, 11, 12, 13-ish. And if Mina's got him coming in around 15, well, it's not too far away from where I kind of have him. But his chance to crash that top 4 or 5 party, I think, is greater than most other guys who aren't already there.
I mean, I'm just, Coach Yak put this out. I mean, who's Mina Kimes? I mean, what do I care? Seriously, but she's a big Seahawk honk from what I hear. So, the fact that she'd have Purdy down the list. Now, once again, it's like these people are they just make these lists and it's so arbitrary. Brock Purdy's played Trevor Lawrence head to head. He's outshined Trevor Lawrence. How do you watch last year's playoffs and put CJ Stroud over anybody? CJ Stroud was the reason his team sucked in the playoffs. He had the number one defense.
Offensive line was awful too.
He was horrible. Whether it was because of his offensive line or not, nobody seems to care. He was bad. And to me, you can definitely put Purdy behind Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Burrow. And then after that, it's hugely debatable. Drake May had one really good year. Is he amazing, or was it one really magical year?
Right. How about let's start with this baseline, Larry. You just brought up a handful of names. Can we both agree that Mahomes, Allen, Stafford, Burrow, and Lamar Jackson sit rightfully ahead of Brock Purdy in this conversation?
I mean, it's a subjective conversation, so everybody's going to have their own list.
My list. Can we agree on that top 5? And so the best Purdy can do here is 6.
I mean, my list is Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, then Stafford, then Daniels, then Purdy. So I've got Purdy behind those guys, but I have Purdy like 7 or 8.
Okay.
You know, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, and then throw in Stafford and throw in who I just said, who did I just say? Daniels. And that's 6. That makes Purdy 7. If you want to debate that between him and Herbert, because Herbert is like, you know, the biggest, strongest, youngest guy with the greatest arm. When he's not the youngest, but he's one of, you know, he's a big, strong guy with a big arm. You know, he looks like central casting. You want to put him up there just on looks. You know, he hasn't done any of the things that Brock Purdy has done. He's never been to an AFC title game. He didn't go to a Super Bowl. So we're now just anointing guys. So I guess we could put Herbert in there on a projection, but the rest of these guys, there's no way. There's no way in hell that Dak Prescott or Caleb Williams or Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud or Jared Goff. I don't believe these guys are better than Brock Purdy. You have to have mobility. You have to have next level movement ability. I mean, look at those top guys. Mahomes can move. Allen can move. Lamar can move. Only Joe Burrow of the top guys, for the most part, and Stafford are not really movers. Everybody else has got some second-level movement ability. So I'm just a real believer in that. I think that if you're a sitting duck back there, that you're a sitting duck back there. And any defense, if they want, can take away any singular down from you by just kind of overloading a side and sending a lot of guys at the quarterback and just forcing the ball out of his hands. And for most of the immobile guys, you can take any down you want from them anytime you want. I mean, we saw it when Mac Jones was in there for Purdy. It's like somebody wants to load up on a particular down and just come after the quarterback. He's probably going to have to throw that thing into the turf and go fight another down. So to me, the mobility crew doesn't have to do that. They can sidestep that rusher, get to a second launch point, find their guy down the field and burn you for 6. And so to me, the mobility factor is the factor that takes people to the next level, which is kind of where Drake May and Purdy are kind of knocking on that door in the 2 conferences respectively, just because they have pocket presence, but they also have, you know, off schedule mobility.
Just looking at 2025, Purdy played in 9 games. He had a 69% completion percentage. 2,167 yards, 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He ran for nearly another $150, 147 yards, and 3 more touchdowns on the ground. When he got back into the lineup permanently in week 11, the 49ers finished with a 6-1 record and an offense that was averaging 31 points per game. That's the 4th best in the NFL. And we all know that at no point in time was really the 49ers offense designed to be the 4th best in anything other than visits to the injury list, for goodness sakes. The 49ers win a playoff game in Philadelphia, and then everybody plays their worst game of the year, maybe the worst game of the Shanahan era up in Seattle, and the season just like that was over. But he battled turf toe. He was in and out of the lineup. The team was compromised, like all around him. And when he got out there, he still earned a 90 overall Pro Football Focus grade, 4th among 43 qualified quarterbacks. His Pro Football Focus passing grade was 86.1. That was 5th at the position. At any point in time, had you attached Brock Purdy's career numbers from just last year, at the beginning of his career, the entire career, to a guy who was drafted in the 1st round and 3 inches taller, the amount of universal praise coming in would be deafening. But there's always a reason people are hesitant to say, you're like, oh, well, yeah, he's in the top 5 in all these statistics, but I hope this is the year that Purdy eliminates that. But I still got my suspicion.
Well, they're not going to give him it. They're not going to give him anything, man. He's going to have to take it. He's been one of the NFL's most efficient quarterbacks. He's been the NFL's most efficient quarterback. So what? Suddenly efficiency doesn't mean shit?
What's incredible, Larry?
Is that the deal?
Got a 100.
We live in hold on a second. We live in 2026. We live in this era where Wins don't mean anything. Touchdowns don't mean anything. All these things don't mean anything that are the concrete.
Right.
The guy's won 70% of his games. That doesn't mean anything. He's got Shanahan. He's got his team. The guy's been to a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean anything. He's lifted by the Avengers. The guy's got efficiency numbers. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Those are just QBR and all these things.
Failure is alone, but the success is everyone else's.
What matters? And I'll say this, the people that want to rip on Brock Purdy, I'd say right now is your time. Rip away. Because Dave Lombardi had a stat earlier this week. I'm going to show it on the screen here. He took somebody else's stat and then he added to it.
He fluffed it. He fluffed the tip, Larry.
He took Scott Barrett's stat, which is the least accurate quarterbacks when targeting an open receiver 10-plus yards down the field in 2025. Who were the worst? Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, believe it or not, Mahomes, Bryce Young. Who was the best in football? Brock Purdy, 72.5% when targeting an open receiver 10-plus yards down the field. Number one in the NFL. Shocking. That is absolutely shocking. All right.
Not bad for a guy with a rag arm, Larry.
Well, here's what Lombardi said. He said, Brock Purdy was the NFL's most accurate quarterback targeting open receivers down the field. But he also had the second lowest rate of passes targeting an open receiver down the field. If it wasn't already clear, this is Dave saying this, why the 49ers added Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Deshaun Stribling, it should be by now. This is probably the biggest thing to the Niners in that they couldn't pass. They didn't have any separation. They didn't have any speed. And yet they've got a quarterback that if you can get open down the field, he can dot you. He can put it on your hands. He can absolutely make that throw, but they didn't have anybody open separating down the field. Enter Mike Evans, enter Kirk, enter Stribling, enter, Wesley Grimes and Will Pauling and Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins, all guys who run in the 4-3s. I think this is going to be the biggest departure from what Niner fans saw when they last saw their team to what they're going to see this year when they see their new team is that last year's receivers were glued to receivers, were slow as shit. It was the slowest wide receiver core ever. No speed to speak of at all. Nobody who even ran sub 4.6 got on the field. Pearsall 4.4, but he barely played. The speed guys never played.
Yeah, Al Davis is famous for the vertical passing game. Last year, the 49ers had a horizontal passing game, right?
They had no vertical speed. And when you watch the Seattle film, it really stood out. Now, when I left the stadium, I was like, God, they got to improve their O-line. But when I watched the All-22, I'm like, God, there was no space for Brock Purdy to throw it to anybody. And guess what? So now this year, you add all these receivers. There's going to be a lot more space. Brock Purdy is still going to be that accurate passer. There's going to be that separation. I think that's going to help his turnover numbers. I think that's going to help his passing numbers. And I'll say this. I like Brock Purdy this year to be absolutely right in the mix for MVP. I think he's going to have a big year. There's a lot of pressure on him because of the presence of Mike Evans and the expectations of a better offense. And heck, the Niners are still seeking that sixth Lombardi, and everybody knows it. So there's lots of pressure on everybody, but I think these two stats reveal, Damon, that Niners have a quarterback that can be accurate throwing it down the field. They haven't had the line to protect. They haven't had the receivers to separate. If they can get some protection, and it's a big if I think they have the receivers now to separate, and I think you're going to see a much more dynamic downfield passing attack from the 49ers than you've seen to date from Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan.
Larry, it was fun joining you last night for Niners Nightly. Thanks for having me on once again.
Yeah.
When you and I wrapped that show up, we were talking afterwards, and we were talking about what we were going to be talking about here on today's Wake Up. And I said to you, I think that the 49ers are about to have a more pass-happy offense than we've ever seen. I think that this is the year where they really embrace the pass. And it's not because It's because it's the way the league is going, I think. It's because the way their offensive line is built. It's because of the wear and tear of Christian McCaffrey's last couple of seasons have fallen on him. And we'll get to that running back room in just a little bit later on in the show. But I think that they're about to open up and have a more pass-heavy offense than ever before because they've got the weapons to do it and they've got the quarterback to do it. Purdy's career stats through 2025. 919 completions on 1,353 attempts. That is a 68% completion percentage. Over 11,000 yards, 84 touchdowns, 37 interceptions, a 104 passer rating. Active career passer leaders. Pro Football Reference, right now in football, active career passer leaders. Aaron Rodgers, 102.2. Lamar Jackson, 102.2. Joe Burrow, 101.1. Patrick Mahomes, 100.8. Russell Wilson, he's still out there, 99.3. Purdy's 104 career mark sits above all of them. All of them. I mean, that eventually has to matter, right? I mean, that eventually.
It's not. And none of it matters. We're in the NFL where you win the Super Bowl and you get everything. And if you don't win the Super Bowl, you don't.
Not Super Bowl bad.
Though Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl, he didn't get a contract extension this offseason. So maybe they didn't view it as the Sam Darnold show in Seattle. Who knows? Or maybe one's forthcoming. But yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy's had a lot of great numbers. He's got every guy in that room believes he's a championship caliber quarterback. And that's not me fluffing the pillows or telling you stories how to turn. No, that's just the way I'm just telling you what I see and what's the truth. Every guy in there believes in Brock Purdy. Heck, Mike Evans just put his Hall of Fame career in Brock Purdy's hands and just said, hey, you know what? I want to help you guys win a Super Bowl. I'm the final piece. So, it's the Niners may win. The Niners may not win. Will not fall short because of Brock Purdy and all the talk about Brock Purdy. And it's, I mean, the people that are always, he always trying to put him, in the fire, hold his feet to the fire, do what you want, say what you want, feel the way you want. But the reality is that I think the Niners understand who Brock Purdy is fully. I think Kyle Shanahan understands exactly who he is, Damon. And who is he? He's a player whose greatest trait, his defining trait, like everybody's got a defining trait, right? Some people's defining trait is they're generous. Some people's defining trait is they're funny. Some people's defining trait is they're cheap. Some people's defining trait is they're caring. Whatever it is, Brock Purdy's defining trait is his competitiveness. It's not the accuracy, the speed, the escapability, the processing, the work ethic, none of it. It's the competitiveness. He is a Jordan, a Brady, a Steph. He's on that level. He's Joe. He's got that level of competitiveness. He lives for the dub. Everything's about the dub. Everything. It doesn't matter. You're never going to see Brock Purdy happy after he threw for 300 yards and they lost. But you will see him happy if he throws for under 100 yards and they win. He is all about the W, and his teammates know it, and that's his defining characteristic. So when I say the Niners know him, Damon, what do I mean? They understand now that you got to have Brock Purdy's feet to the fire. You can't just have Brock Purdy. You got to have Brock Purdy, and then you got to motivate him. I know it sounds like, oh, he's plenty motivated. He's a great kid. Yeah, but it's not that kind of motivation. It's a motivation that really brings out the edge in you when you're looking behind the glass and you see a guy producing your show that could host the show probably as well and make a whole lot less. And you're sitting there going, man, I better have a freaking good show because Johnny over there screening my phone calls is going to have FaceTime with the PD and the general manager, and he could take my job tomorrow, and he's way cheaper. So that kind of urgency. Dobbs, Allen, no. Those years that didn't, those guys couldn't take Brock's job, and I thought Brock regressed with them there. But with Sam Darnold, guess what? He was on his game. With Mac Jones, fuck yeah, Mac Jones completed 85% of his passes. If Mac Jones played 3 more games, Brock Purdy fans would have booed Brock Purdy's return. I mean, that's how good Mac Jones was playing. So you know what? The Niners get this. If you're going to have Joe, that's awesome. You're going to have Steve, that's great. But Joe and Steve gives you the best of both. Brock's great, Mac's great, but having both gives you the best of both worlds. Yeah. And this is, I think, not just a factor. To me, it's the factor for the 49ers. There are others. It's team sport, but that's the primary factor. Brock Purdy playing at his apex is what the Niners absolutely have to have if they're going to win the Super Bowl.
And look, when Purdy plays, Larry, the Niners basically have a top 5 offense, and you can draw a line back to that at any time in his career. There are a few moments where I guess it fell outside of that, but basically when he's playing, they got a top 5 offense. So the question isn't talent. It's not work ethic. It's not ability. It's not respect. It's not any. It's just durability. That's it. Can Brock stay out there? Everything else and all of his traits, besides, his physical stature, which again, if you're inventing a quarterback in a laboratory, you come out with one who's just a little bit physically bigger than Brock Purdy, but you have all of Purdy's attributes then baked into that physically bigger person. He's a really, really good quarterback, man. There's just no way around it. And trying to marginalize his success or take his success and put it on someone else, but all of the failure that the 49ers have are directly reflected on him. It's a little nuts. It's a little nuts the way people try to evaluate this guy. Coaches with top 10 offenses in the past 7 seasons. No one's got more than Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's got 6 top 10 offenses in the past 7 seasons. Andy Reid has 5. Ben Johnson and Sean McVay have 4. Kellen Moore and Matt LaFleur each have 3. Kevin O'Connell, Todd Monken, Zach Taylor with 2. Liam Cohn, 1 last year with Jacksonville. And this is something that I think, when people bring it up, it's like, well, you can't have one without the other. Yeah, that's true. That's historically, that's true. You don't get Joe Montana without Bill Walsh, and you don't get Bill Walsh without Joe Montana. You don't get Andy Reid going from, he's a really good coach to he is a certain first ballot Hall of Famer without Patrick Mahomes. You got to have that coach and quarterback combination. And that to me is just something that I think gets overlooked. And it's literally the cornerstone of the entire franchise right now. How good Shanahan is at what he does and how good Purdy is at executing what Shanahan's vision is. And this is how the team will win its Super Bowl. Those two guys finally arriving, same paging it, being healthy all year long together. Kyle staying innovative. Kyle maybe breaking his own trends. And this year, again, going to a heavier passing attack, which I really think the Niners are about to do. It's going to be a problem for football if they got the real horses to run that race, and they do. So I'm really excited about this year, man. I think this is going to be an incredible season for Purdy. ESPN analyst Mike Clay, Larry, projects Purdy to throw for 4,182 yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions with 277 rushing yards and 4 more touchdowns. Clay actually has Purdy as the NFL's passing leader in 2026. Okay. That's ahead of Burrow, that's ahead of Allen, that's ahead of Stafford. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, and I don't care if that happens. What I would like to see is that 27 touchdowns balloon to somewhere in the mid-30s, and those 14 interceptions that he's projected to have come in under 12. That's what I'd like to see for Purdy. I don't care about the yards, but those scores and finishing red zone drives with touchdowns is how this team is back in the NFC playoffs.
No, and they were great in the red zone last year. And they didn't, and
it's how they got to the playoffs. It really was, because their defense sucked.
But I mean, that's not the factor. I mean, their red zone is
they got to do it again. Got to do it again.
The factor for them is going to be there's 3 factors here. It's, do you have the head coach? They got the head coach. Do you have the quarterback? They got the quarterback. And the rest of it is about, do you have a good enough roster? Is your roster good enough top to bottom? They're 0 for 12 or 1 for 12, if you like Jair Brown, over 4 drafts, has put them in a very, difficult position roster-wise. Now, they had a volume draft last year. They followed it up with another volume haul this year. We'll find out ultimately this summer, but it's going to be decided in the blood sweat and tears out there on the practice field this summer. I mean, there's tremendous competition at wide receiver. There's tremendous competition at backup offensive line. There's tremendous competition at running back. There's going to be tremendous competition at quarterback between Curtis Rourke and Adrian Martinez. There's a lot of depth on the D-line, a lot of linebackers, a lot of corners. So, they're going to have some very good competition. And do they have enough? We're going to find out. If none of the new guys step up, they don't have enough. We saw it. They lost 41-6 to the Seattle Seahawks. So unless their new additions and their returnees are significant, they're not going to close a 41-6 gap unless they get Romello Height, Grayson Halton, some of these guys, Odighi Zua, maybe Jack Jones, Nate Hobbs. Some of these guys on defense are going to have to play. Christian Kirk, Mike Evans, the line's going to have to protect. Is Connor Colby going to win the left guard job? Is it going to be Carver Willis? Is it going to be Robert Jones? Is their O-line going to be able to stand up to Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy? I mean, can they block Seattle's front? Do they have it? I mean, Purdy loves to throw the in-breaker. You got rid of Juwan, and George probably won't play. I mean, this talk that George is going to play in week 1, really? Nick Wagner has him playing in week 1. Week 1. That is absolute lunacy. I will bet you anything that he doesn't play in September, let alone week 1. This is right there with the Ayuk's going to play in week 1. That was a bullshit story. I don't know why. And the Niners obviously put that out there. And then the CMC 2 years ago, he's going to be back for week 1. What? He was back in week 10. That's how crazy the George story is. George tore his Achilles. He did it in late January. He waited 2 or 3 weeks to let the swelling go down before he had the surgery. So we're talking about a guy who had surgery on his torn Achilles probably in February. And 6 months later, he's going to be out on the field? I mean, what are you guys, all high? I mean, come on. That's not happening. This guy might be back after 10 months, which would be November. To me, a more realistic thing would be like December. But this week 1 talk is just absolutely
it's crazy. Larry, Brandon Ayuk has a better chance of playing in Australia than George Kittle does. Okay.
Why do people keep repeating this? Just because somebody with the Niners whispers something to you does not mean that you need to go with it. And if you're wrong by like 10 weeks, isn't that kind of a credibility killer? I mean, if we're supposed to all be handicapping the team that we're watching, and you're telling people that a guy's going to return in week 1, he doesn't return until he doesn't return. Isn't that kind of it's like, should I listen to you anymore?
It's a bit much. I mean,
really? So I don't know, man. What's a bit much?
The prediction that he's going to be back week 1.
Oh,
it's a bit much. It's. I mean, you really want people to lean in on that talking point, I guess. But it makes no sense.
What's the point of that? What's the point of that report? That's a crazy report. And
Find me the medical comp. Find me the medical who in football has done that.
Who in any sport has done that? Who is blown out? Dude, I mean, when I saw that report, he's back in week 1, I'm like, wait a second. Are we in 2300? Are we hundreds of years down the road and they've advanced this thing? There'll be a day when you'll tear your Achilles on like a Friday and you'll be back out there probably in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. When you get put in like the Jedi lava lamp, when you're suspended in liquid and the force is healing you as well, and you got droids working on you, then it'll be great. No problem.
There's no chance. There's no chance he's back in week 1. And if he is back in week 1, that's a horrible decision for a team so your 33-year-old tight end who's rooted in the ground on every play, and you're expecting to play football, you're hoping to play football in mid-February, and you're going to rush him back to play in September, 6 months after he tore his Achilles. No. Anybody who's saying he's back in the first month, I don't think has done the math. It doesn't work out.
Larry, I want everyone to do the math when they sign up for Prize Picks. All you got to do is use code HMA, and you are going to be right in the middle of getting $50 instantly when you make that first $5 play. Now, you can go for team picks, but download Prize Picks. Go with more or less, and you can find yourself a winner. My last Prize Picks play caught me a winner, Larry. I had a little Wembanyama rebounding. I had some Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring. I laid off last night's game, but I'm starting to turn around my Prize Picks luck. Larry, let's go, Damon Bruce. Use code HMA when you sign up. Thank you very much. This is available in California. It's available in Texas. It's available in Florida and most other states as well. Prize Picks is ready for you. Are you making a play today, Larry? Do we have a lineup to fill out?
We're not going to do a lineup today because something happened with the registration, and it looks like they're asking me to get the app and all kinds of things. And so I'm not going to be able to get in today. So I won't be able to do something today. But we will. But I'm a big fan of Prize Picks, and of course the Krug Show is presented by Prize Picks, and they're America's #1 sports picks app. It's super simple. As Damon said, you just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes and build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. If you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. And as he said, when you play $5, you get $50 in lineups instantly. I did take the Knicks last night against the Cavs in game 2. The Knicks I'll just give you guys a little gambling advice here. Roll with the Knicks at home. The Knicks and their crowd at home, they're like 6-1, I think, so far in the playoffs.
Larry, the Knicks have one of the single best point differentials through 12 playoff games in the history of playoff basketball. We are underselling the Knicks here. A lot of people, and I do think that the Eastern Conference is a little bit of the Eastern Conference Finals is the JV to the Western Conference Finals varsity, but the Knicks have enough defensive principles to show up and win this whole damn thing if they really do reach the NBA Finals. They've been playing fantastic defensive basketball.
404 says Larry blew his Prize Picks wad on futures. Yeah, see, I've been picking so many futures. And when you pick futures, that money just comes right out, and then all of a sudden,
see it 9 months from now, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, the regular season baseball doesn't float my boat as much. Now, if I was in Tahoe right now or Vegas, I would be betting some baseball. But I definitely like the Knicks at home. Almost every time they play at home, they're really, really good.
They have been really good. Can we get before we get to some supers here, Larry? Because I think you got some radio duties coming up this morning. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm sitting in for Greg Papa today with Greg Silver, and they want me to go be Cranky Krug today. So they want
Cranky Krug.
Cranky Krug. They want a cranky take on the Warriors. I think my take is going to be that Joe Lacob thinks he's Eddie D, but in reality, he's Jerry Jones. That should go over well. And then I'm going to be going off on the Giants and maybe even a little bit on the Niners. It's like, I guess my big thing that I'm going to go off on the Niners as my negative point, and I don't know how you feel about this, Damon, but I'm all for, being smart with your cap and this and that. But the rolling over a record amount of cap room in a year when all of the prime players on your team are in their twilight and they may never get together again. You may never have a team that has Bosa and Warner and Trent and CMC. All these guys are in the twilight. This is not the year to roll over $71 million. This is the year to go get Stephon Diggs and Joey Bosa and trade a couple players for future picks and spend a little bit of that money and roll over, I don't know, 45, 50 million, not 70 million. The idea of rolling over some record amount of money in your go year is just unacceptable.
Look, I know that this sounds short-sighted. I couldn't give a shit about the 2027 San Francisco 49ers. That is way too far away for me to care about at all.
And the cap's going up. The cap always goes up.
49ers are the only 49ers teams that we're about to be dealing with for the next 12 months. So that's the only one I care about. That's the only one they should care about. And the leader of the Go Get Stephon Diggs bandwagon, by the way. That is
I get the whole don't drive your franchise off the cliff, okay? But every year's different. And the 49ers won their 5th Lombardi 30 freaking years ago, and they've gotten close, but no cigar. And guess what? John Harbaugh ain't in Baltimore. Mike Tomlin ain't in Pittsburgh. And John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan should maybe take notice of that and just acknowledge that while there's people on this side of their body saying, hey, you guys have forever, you're going to be here forever. The reality is nobody gets forever.
No.
And if you don't win or if you lose and you miss the playoffs, you're probably on the hot seat going into next year. So the reality is you better try to get that Lombardi, because the reality for the Niners is if the Niners get the Lombardi trophy, Jed York, made man. Brock Purdy, made man. Kyle Shanahan, made man. John Lynch, made man. They all can call their shots. Jed can tell Dr. John York, the speech pathologist, beat it. Go bore somebody else with your stuff. I won the Super Bowl. Get out of here. Get out of my face. Shanahan can say, you know what? I'm going to stay as long as I damn well please. Lynch can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we've had some draft misses, but guess what? I'm the beast in this mother. And Brock Purdy can say, hey, Mina this, move me up. So they all are made men if they win this Super Bowl, and they got to sprint at it, because every other team in pro football is going to give you everything they got. Harbaugh and the Chargers, the Eagles with what they're doing. I mean, heck, Harbaugh just brought in Mike McDaniel, for crying out loud. Those guys do not see eye to eye on football, but guess what? They're going to get together. Why? Because they're desperate. Everybody's desperate to win the Super Bowl. The Niners need to not just be, hey, we're in it, but we don't want to stretch too much. We don't want to extend too far. No, you're not going to have this core for very long. Go for it.
How about this? I think you'd have fewer angrier Niner fans if it were clear that they pushed all the chips in with a Bosa Diggs double signing and then coming up short than to come up short without that. I mean, people will understand. No one will be talking about it's a shame that this year didn't end up in the Super Bowl, but look at all that cap room we're rolling over. Not a single fan will say that out loud. Zero. Go get impact players. Not guys on the margin, not guys who are, nice jabs to the body. Go get some haymakers to throw. Stephon Diggs is throwing a haymaker at the NFC West. Joey Bosa is throwing a haymaker at Matthew Stafford.
Stand up for a second.
Joey Bosa ends up in Seattle.
Stand up for a second. What are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
What's your shirt say?
This is a San Francisco.
Oh, I thought I could have swore you had an Indiana shirt on. All right, because it looks like an Indiana shirt. I was about to say, guess what? Guess who just won the national championship? Kurt Signetti in the Indiana Hoosiers. And they didn't do it by just being like, you know what? We think the guys we got here in Bloomington are all right. No. He said, Mikhail Kamara, come on down. Kalen Black, come on down. Pat Coogan, get over here. They assembled a freaking great cast of characters. They got in the transfer portal. And guess what, folks? The Indiana Hoosiers went for it. And if the Niners are going to get their Super Bowl ring, they ain't going to get it because they kind of want it. They're going to get it because they sort of kind of pursue it. They're going to have to go for it. And that means going after a Diggs. And that means going after a Joey Bosa or somebody else. Go for it. Chiefs are, Eagles are, Lions are, Bears are. These teams are, Rams are, Seahawks are. They're going for it. So don't roll over $71 fucking million and sitting there about the next year's cap, which we know is going up. Screw next year's cap. I'm with Damon on this one. Everything should be about 26. You should pretend like the franchise is going to dissolve in 27. It's now or never for these guys. It's now or never for Trent, for George, for Nick, for CMC, for Fred. Now or never. Greenlaw, now or never.
Like and subscribe, hit notify on both of our channels. Larry, I know we got some supers to get to, not too many. Some real quick, though, real quick news from the week. according to Nick Wagner, who, again, Kittle, week 1, I don't think so. But Nick says Jordan James, not Kalon Black, is most likely player to win running back 2 behind Christian McCaffrey. Now, I don't know what led him to think that, or who he talked to that led him to think that, or what he saw that led him to think that. But all I can tell you is that if Black turns into this year's Isaac Guerrero, the least liked draft pick by Niners critics is going to be liked even less. So
I'll just say this.
A bigger part than someone who is just not involved this year.
Nick's a very bright guy. There ain't a chance in hell that's going to happen. It's going to be Kalon Black. You heard it here first. It's going to be Black. It's going to be Black over Jordan James.
Speaking of go Hoosiers.
I mean, come on. Kalon Black is a difference maker, true difference maker, power runner, culture player, tough as hell. I think he's going to be your goal line back. I think if you're a CMC guy, don't draft CMC this year. Why? Because this kid, Kalon Black, is going to vulture 4 or 5 touchdowns on the goal line. Bank it. It's going to happen. He's also going to be the back that you put games away with, and he's going to get those first downs, and you're going to win games.
He does. I hope he does.
I would be shocked if Jordan James, even if Jordan James was given the first look, Jordan James is not fast. I think there's durability questions there, and I think Black's a significant.
Look at this. I have no idea what Jordan James is. Jordan James,
he's a good receiver,
spectacular, and let's find out together.
He's a good receiver. He can really catch it.
You talk about great camp battles. Let's hope there is a fantastic RB2 battle for the 49ers this year. That won't leave them shorthanded. That will just help them out in their running back room depth. The big news from the NFL this week is that reigning NFL MVP Matthew Stafford and the Rams reached an agreement on a 1-year, $55 million extension that could go up to 60 with incentives. And look, this is now a $60 million a year quarterback is the new norm for someone who is, as good as Stafford is. Stafford now has 2 years and $105 million remaining on his deal with the Rams. And honestly, this makes the whole Ty Simpson pick even stranger. The whole point of taking a quarterback early on is that you get a quarterback on a rookie deal, and they are pushing Ty Simpson's first year of being a quarterback on a rookie deal into the 3rd year of a rookie deal now. It doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense to draft Simpson and then extend Stafford. This almost feels like an apology to Stafford. We know that kind of pissed you off.
No. This is the preferred old school way of development, right? You have a quarterback, and then you get the guy, his replacement, and you groom him for a couple years behind that quarterback.
Best time to draft a quarterback is when you don't need one. We get it.
But then the new thing with the cap is that, hey, if you go with a rookie quarterback, you can capitalize on his rookie quarterback status. And obviously they're not going to do that with Simpson because they're still paying Stafford $60 million. The downside is they're throwing a lot of cap at their quarterback and a lot of assets at their quarterback. The upside is that theoretically they'll have a team that's ready to just kind of transition smoothly from Stafford to Simpson, but that never happens. So I don't know. We'll see. I love that the Rams have been so quarterback focused this offseason because assets that you're spending on your quarterback are assets you're not spending elsewhere. Riker Trav says, Happy Memorial Day weekend. Thank you, veterans. Absolutely. My late father was a JAG Corps attorney in the United States Army, and met my mother in Chicago when he was stationed there at 5th Army headquarters in the early 60s. And that's what brought our family together. And so on Veterans Day, I was gonna, I always like to thank Pops, not just for the great USAA insurance, but also just for his service to this nation. So thank you, Dad, for that, and thank you to all the veterans out there. We don't honor you enough. Joseph Ernberg in the house says this old fuck ass team will never be healthy.
That's that's the Joseph Ernberg we know.
That's the Ernberg that I churn for. I yearn for. I mean, this is the guy that I miss seeing at the gym. That level of anger, that level of negativity. Come on back to wherever our gym is called, cease and desist or Pluck and Pluckier or what the hell
whatever it was.
I don't know what it's called. It's a shitty name, whatever it is. It really is. I forget the name, but it's really bad.
I hope you're not going to a gym called Pluck and Pluckier. That sounds like
it's really bad, dude. It's like oh no, here it's called Vim and Vigor.
Ooh,
I mean, come on, bro.
That's not
Vim and Vigor. Get the hell out of my face. I'm the only guy, by the way, who doesn't have a card. Every time I go to the gym, I'm like, yeah, I forgot my card every time because I don't have a card. The guy looks at me like, yeah, no problem. What's your number? I read it to him. Thanks. Yeah. It's like, dude, don't you recognize me by now? I'm here every day.
Vim and Vigor sounds like the ingredients a snake oil salesman uses out of the back of his going town to town horse-drawn cart trying to sell you elixirs and tonics and
Step right up. Get your Vim and your Vigor.
Get your Vim and your Vigor.
It's like those people in the mall that try to put like essential, put something around your neck, as you're walking through the mall. Aren't you soothed? Don't you feel good? Yeah, right.
You ever had them hit you with that like thing? It looks like a kind of like a wiry spatula, and they put it on your head, and it
supposedly makes you like
feel good. But what I want to say is, how many people's heads have you put that on today? And do I now have lice? I don't know. Don't just like put that on my head.
Oh my God. Thomas Selman, 13, 100%, and a top 10 quarterback. Tired of the Herbert praise. Yeah, I mean the Herbert praise. We get it. The guy looks good. Claudaddy Arcades in the house. Claudaddy, are we traveling this year? We're thinking Atlanta. We're thinking maybe LA. Possibly Dallas. We're thinking it over. Those are the options right now, Claudaddy. We'll have to converse.
It sounds like he's made an agreement here, though.
He says, Larry, pack your... Oh, I didn't even read this one. Larry, pack your bags for the Chargers game in December. Agree with last week's take. Grab a defensive end, tight end, and safety, which will allow George and McHale to properly rehab and be ready for a playoff run. Ramsey, Meyer, Bosa. Ooh, I like that. He's talking about Jalen Ramsey, who's followed Raheem Morris to a lot of different spots. Michael Mayer from the Raiders, and Joey Bosa. Absolutely. Claudaddy, I love the idea. Claudaddy's got arcades in Petaluma or in Capitola Mall. He's also got a number of them down in Southern California, so he's kind of a big deal down in SoCal. Claudaddy, maybe Kev and I rolling down there for the Thursday nighter, Niners-Chargers, Harbaugh against Shanahan. I think that's one of our plans.
There you go. Underwrite that bad boy.
We will converse. Love Claudaddy. Barry Ford, Memphis. By the way, Claudaddy sent us to last year to New Orleans and Philly, Seattle. We had a lot of good travel last year. Thank you, Claudaddy Arcades. Barry Ford, Memphis. Bang, bang. Great show, guys. For the Jar.
Thank you, Barry.
Holiday weekend.
Thank you very much.
Jar. All right.
Barry's a military guy, so he appreciates those shout outs.
There you go. John Wallace. That's, Barry, thank you for your service. John Wallace. Ask Constructed. Go get a dog. Grandson graduating 8th grade. On my way. Have a great day, guys. John, congratulations. All graduations should be celebrated, including 8th grade. I remember my 8th grade graduation. It's a great day. It really is. It's a fun day. Enjoy it with your family. Barry Ford, Memphis. Thanks for all the salutes, Larry. Dad and my brother were Army. I went Navy. I'll say this. Nothing, I've done a lot of things in my sports career. Probably the one that stands out the most to me is doing Army Navy, going out to Philadelphia, interviewing Roger Staubach, interviewing Dawkins and some of those greats from the Army Navy past, meeting Admiral Byrd and all the big wigs, General Onionto, getting a chance to meet some of the highest ranking U.S. military officials, USA officials. I mean, it was an amazing trip.
When you talk to see
the march on.
Yeah, when you talk to people who go to the Army Navy game, it stays with them. I've never been. I've never had the pleasure of going. It's always something that I've wanted to do.
Do it. Yeah. Anyway, I got to run because I'm on the radio in 3 minutes. But that's going to do it for us. Thanks to our sponsors. Hit like and subscribe on all of our stuff here. If you hit like and subscribe and you click that notification bell anytime we go live, you don't have to miss.
John coming in 9th grade, no joke. We told him. Thank you very much, John.
There you go, John. Damon, have a great Friday. Join me on the radio.
Are we back on Monday for Memorial Day?
Not sure. Not sure. We'll think
No
about
days
it. Yes.
off. No days off.
Monday we'll be here.
See you then.
Peace.